Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of EO, where we review gadgets for our pleasure and your gain. I'm Chris Index, and this here is Jonathan Pixel.
So this week we actually have two devices to test out. Our friends over at AT&T gave us the Pantech Element tablet and also the Jawbone Jambox.
We'll be talking about the tablet first, and in the second half we'll go over to the speaker. As far as the tablet is concerned, it's a 1.5 gigahertz processor, Snapdragon, 1 gigabyte of RAM, which is fairly standard. Some things are moving up, like the S3 has 2, and some newer tablets also have better processors, like the Nexus 7 and Nexus 10 have quad-core processors. This year is just a dual-core, but that's the same thing that was in computers, just up to a couple years ago.
And it still seemed fairly fast from everything I was using on it. So.
Yeah, I never really had any problems with performance. Additionally, it's got a 2-megapixel front-facing camera and a 5-megapixel rear-facing camera. And its screen resolution is about 160 pixels per inch, which isn't that bad, and it records in 720 and feeds back in 1080.
Yeah, I mean the color on here is great. I had no problem watching Netflix and all that. Playing games, they're really crisp and everything. So I didn't. But yeah, with the camera being only 2-megapixel front and was at a 5.5 rear, it's not the greatest camera you could have.
Yeah, I find, even with that being true, the photos it produces, you end up with a lot of artifacting in them, or because you're sitting there and you've got the live feed of what you're trying to take a picture of, and it looks great on the screen. And then the moment you take a picture, it's just like, oh.
Yeah, which is like, if you could show it better on the screen, why not take a better picture?
Yeah, exactly. But this tablet here is running 3.2 Honeycomb. Cool. And as a tablet that was just released under a month ago, it's kind of behind schedule as far as where it should be running. Tablets right now should at least be running Ice Cream Sandwich. And there is a model out there of this that does run 4.0.
Sure.
This particular model, when we try to go to software updates, is not available. So it's possible that it's just from AT&T and the update hasn't been pushed yet. But possible camera improvements and other improvements can be found with a newer OS.
As far as the actual form of this, I thought it was like, it's an 8-inch tablet, which is different because you usually have 7, then you have a 10-inch tablet.
That's right.
It's kind of in between, and I was like, it's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit more, it's not as widescreen as I was expecting it to be, but I like the form of it because when I'm holding it on the side, it's a really good way. It actually makes me use my other hand to touch it. I don't try to do this.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing this one, I like the hold. It feels pretty good. But also with this tablet, it makes me want to use swipe when I'm typing because I can actually see the buttons and get through them. But
that's actually one of the things I absolutely hate about it, actually. Open up Evernote here. When I'm typing, and I don't know if this is going to be seen.
You should put it over there if you want.
When I'm typing, my thumb can only reach so far, so I end up having to jump across. The 8 inches is just about 1 inch too big for me to really type really fast. And as far as swipe goes, I feel like that I'm simply going too far to get to all the different keys.
Yeah, I actually liked it because on my phone it's really small, so having a bigger screen and an 8-inch screen was a good size, I felt, for doing this. Just to be able to see where I'm actually going with it felt a lot nicer.
Yeah, for me it's just the simple process of going across the screen to the letters is taking a lot more time than with a phone with swipe, because I use swipe on my phone and I'm just using one thumb.
Some other things I liked about it. Okay, so I was at work the other day, and we had my boss's birthday was that day, and they got him a ice cream cake, and so I had the tablet on my desk, and I had the cake sitting next to it, and it started melting, and because I walked away, I didn't realize, and it melted onto the tablet. So my tablet had ice cream on it. So I pick up the tablet, I pick up my empty glass, and I walk to the fridge, and I'm like, hey, Eric, can you pour me some glass? And he's like, what's wrong with your limbs? I'm like, well, tablet in one hand, empty cup in the other hand. I can't pour. He's like, fine. So he fills up the cup. I walk over to the trash can. I start pouring water in it. And you know what? Everyone just stopped and looked at me. And like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, it's waterproof. So the nice thing about this tablet that I really thought that some people are like, why is it such a great feature? Having a waterproof tablet, actually, I think is a great idea because there's many more applications you can use it at. Like the shower, you can listen to music. You can, see, it still works.
Yeah.
You can use it in the shower to listen to music. That way you're not worried about it getting wet. You can do whatever you need to. You can go to the pool and play music and not worry about getting splashed, walking in the rain, stuff that you don't have to worry about. Go with the hot tub and just watch a movie while you're sitting there. It's a nice thing. So.
One important thing to note about it is that it's inoperable while underwater. So if you want to take it scuba diving, obviously it's not going to.
I believe it was up to 3 feet that you could submerge it. So just to show that it actually does still.
Well, I mean, it will continue to broadcast, but as far as the touch screen, you won't be able to operate it while it's underwater.
So we got music. I mean, the water's not going to affect it any. But of course, you're not going to really get it to work while it's underwater.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a touchscreen tablet.
So won't do any good scuba diving.
But I mean, I just turn it on and off. The buttons work fine. I can still touch it.
Yeah, once it's out.
But it's a great feature, I think. I appreciate it. So what about the battery? How did you feel about it?
Well, it's listed as a 25-day standby time, which is phenomenal. I used it, over at least 2 days without having to charge it at all. And I know once the battery does get low, it comes up with that critical warning. It's fairly resilient. It lasts for quite a while at that point. It took me a bit originally I thought there wasn't any battery statistic reported, but I actually found it later on in the settings. It was hidden underneath something.
Yeah, that's one thing I really thoroughly enjoyed about this tablet. The battery it's a really strong battery. Mm-hmm. And I spent a couple days just almost nonstop playing Pandora on it because I play at work, drive to work, play at crew that night. It just kept going. And then when it gets down to like 5%, 5% is actually like a couple hours.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised by it. I mean, it goes into a really good power save mode, but the battery was great on it.
One thing that I didn't like, besides the fact that this specific model here is running an outdated operating system, was just the amount of sensors on it. When I'm looking for phones, I really like to have near field communication, mm-hmm. and I really like to have all those accelerometers and everything in it. This particular one, it lacks the proximity sensor as well as NFC. And those are two features that I really enjoy having in tablets and phones. And tablets, having more room to pack in that hardware, I think it can go a lot further for users.
How many tablets actually have a proximity sensor on there, though?
Well, I do know the Nexus line does, the 4, 7, and 10.
Is there any reason to actually have a proximity sensor on here?
Well, a lot of phones will have, like usage as far as maybe with Skype calls and things.
Sure.
If an app can make use for it, why not? My full verdict on the tablet is, for something coming out this January, it seems to be a little bit old as far as what it can do. Dual-core processor, an outdated operating system. Some benefits are that it's waterproof, and for its market price, it may be fairly reasonable compared to other tablets out there.
So let's move on to the Jawbone Jambox.
Sure. So what's really great about this guy is that the whole thing's a speaker. It's this small, it's portable, and it packs a punch.
That's all the way. You can actually see it vibrating, bouncing around. But and I mean, it's a light speaker.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that heavy.
It's advertised up to 185 decibels, and as far as the quality, it's the same quality that I hear with those nice wraparound headphones for
mm-hmm.
a computer. I hear no artifacting in the music. For most qualities, it's not like where you have a low track and you can hear it on better speakers.
Yeah.
It does a good job at having good sound quality with any music track.
The EQ is just right for most of the songs, I believe.
Its advertised MSRP is $199, and when I think about that as far as the price goes, I think of some other options out there on the market, like the Sonos speaker, and
mm-hmm.
That's a home speaker that streams through online services like Pandora and Spotify and Last.fm.
Sure.
It's advertised for something for $299 as far as the speaker goes, and so when I think about it that way, it's a little bit larger speaker. It's a home speaker, and it has the online streaming. When I think about that for $100 more than this, with its portability and its sound for such a small size, I think it's a fairly good price at $199.
The one thing that I'm a little iffy on is the battery life of this speaker.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of power to power the device, and of course I was using the tablet to play Pandora through it at crew, and the crew is about 4 hours long, and I would say about 3 hours into it, going from full battery, it was getting close to being empty.
Right.
And so I'd plug it in because of it. And the nice thing, it tells you what the battery level is.
Battery is about full.
So it'd be about full at the beginning of crew, then it'd
mm-hmm.
beep and it would say battery's about half empty, I guess. And then near 3 hours or something, it'd be like, battery's about empty. And then sometimes I was confused if it was actually telling me the battery life of the tablet or if it was telling me the battery life of the speaker.
Yeah.
But
one thing that I find is really great is being a product from Jawbone. I've had an earpiece before, so a lot of these sounds and such are really familiar to me. But as far as unpackaging it for the first time and being able to connect, it was fairly easy, fairly straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
They made it really easy for you to connect your device and to get music playing through it just within a few minutes of opening the box.
yeah, I mean, you have your charger port. You actually have a headphone jack as well, so you can plug it into other devices.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your on-off switch and syncing switch. Now, the other thing that was nice was it was also advertised as being able to connect your phone and relay phone calls through it, and
Yep.
also use it as a microphone.
It does have a microphone.
So that was nice. You can. Did you get to use that feature?
By accident.
That's true.
I was playing some music and I needed to call somebody, and I held my phone up and I wasn't hearing anything. And someone's like, "You're calling someone through the speaker."
Yeah, because I was on stage and I'm trying to use it, and I hear someone else's voice. I'm like, this is not right.
Yeah.
But that's a nice feature. I guess you can just have it at home and someone calls you, and you just keep talking to
Sure.
the speakers. So it's a nice feature. So my overall verdict of this device is it's great sound, it's great mobility, it's just perfect in the sound. The battery, to my liking, is a little bit low, but that's what I should expect for what this device can be.
Mhm.
So I give it a pretty good review.
As far as I go, I think it's pretty great. If you don't have a speaker or you don't plan on buying a specific speaker system, I think this is a very good option.
Mm-hmm.
If you've already got a home speaker system, maybe you don't need to splurge on an extra $200 for a portable one. But if you currently don't have anything and you're looking out to get something that's a little bit cheaper than what's out there for your home, this is a wonderful solution.
Sure. Well, next week we have our episode on mice.
Yeah, we're going to be bringing in several different types of mice. We're bringing things by Logitech, possibly Microsoft. We're going to have the Apple Magic Mouse, Cyborg Rat, and a mouse from Razer at the least. So we should have about 5 models here next week.
Tune in next week for mice.
That's right. See ya. Totally taking up everything this week was this curved watch display that Apple's apparently making. Everything that I read online was just covered by coverage of this, and it's a little bit exciting. We'll see how it comes out. It's just the first rumor that's out. There was also something I read that Samsung is also looking into a smartwatch.
Is it like that? Is that how they call this, like the iWatch or something?
I don't know what it's going to be called, but it's probably just going to be like your 7th Gen Nano, kind of modified and implanted on the wristband.
Okay,
I would
sure.
imagine. Microsoft 2013 is going to be locked into a specific computer. You won't be able to exchange those serials to a new device.
It's like they're doing that for the games and their.
Yeah, well,
seems like all their
they're trying to
software now.
promote the. Actually, that's the wrong thing. They're trying to promote Microsoft 365, which is their subscription-based service for Office, which you would be able to take between computers. I thought, and Steam is now released for Linux. So if you're running Ubuntu, you can now have all those Steam games. Right now they're running a sale that's between 50 and 75% off every game on Steam for Linux.